National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
Hello and welcome. Lots to cover as the Iran war stretches into a 10th day. Tehran is being pounded under a new Ayatollah, the son of the former supreme leader. Iran ramps up strikes targeting Israel and the oil facilities of Gulf nations, and Canadian consumers are feeling it at the pumps. We begin our coverage at the border between Turkey and Iran, where many are trying to get out and where black flags are flying on the Iranian side. It's where we find CTV's Adrian Gabriel with one Canadian family's poignant journey to safety. Adrian.
Sandy, we're at the Kapakoi border crossing. This is a critical passage that links Turkey with Iran. Today we watched as hundreds fled war and persecution, including Canadian families desperate to find safety in a region growing more volatile by the day. An ominous black flag blows in the wind on the Iranian side of the Kapakoi border crossing, a towering symbol marking a time of mourning for Iran's late supreme leader. On the ground on the Turkish side of the border crossing, war-weary travelers make their way down this long pedestrian passage as they walk towards freedom.
It's super risky, you know?
This Canadian father flew all the way from Vancouver, desperate to reunite with his wife and two young daughters caught in the conflict after they went to visit a sick relative in Iran.
I just need to meet them here safe, that's it.
What will it mean to you to be able to hug your children again?
I don't need anything, I don't want anything in my whole life. I just want to hug them, that's it.
It's been like more than 3 hours that I'm staying here, waiting for my aunt. I'm feeling it and everything.
Mohammed Asadi flew from Germany to wait for his aunt, a Canadian from British Columbia, who spent the last 10 days trapped in Tehran as airstrikes rained down.
It makes us human beings to be with your family, to help your family when they are in need.
If you're willing to wait.
A team of Canadian consular officers are also on the ground, offering assistance to those making this precarious passage.
The communications are down, the internet is down, so it's very challenging for anyone inside Iran to communicate outside of the country.
This is what many are fleeing. New video today inside Tehran's Shahran oil depot, an apocalyptic scene following a wave of U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. And confirmation that for a second time, NATO has shot down an Iranian missile as it entered Turkish airspace. This as the foreign minister for Iran's supreme leader warns of a long, painful war.
What is important for us is the end of this game. And we are ready to continue that game.
As global powers posture,
We're gonna go home, Vancouver. It's our home.
On this day, a moment of humanity, a Canadian family reunited.
To see him standing there waiting for you, what did that moment mean to you?
Yeah, it's everything. I'm alive for this moment.
To have your daughter back in your arms and you're heading home to Canada.
Peace, home, 2 words.
High five.
Canadians helping Canadians.
When I met you here,
Huge relief, huh?
Those some are left waiting into the night. Iranian border agents won't let Assadi's aunt cross with her Canadian passport.
Now she's a lady alone on that side of border in this cold weather.
While some are homeward bound, others wait, hoping a new day will reunite them with their loved ones. Relief for many, heartache for others. The tension here at this border crossing is palpable. The U.S. has raised its travel security alert right here at this location due to a heightened risk of terrorism and armed conflict. Sandy.
All right, Adrian, thank you. CTV's Adrian Gabriel. New video of the deadly airstrike near an Iranian school appears to contradict Donald Trump's claim the U.S. was not responsible. Footage released by an Iranian news agency and analyzed by Western journalists and experts appears to show an American Tomahawk missile hitting an Iranian military facility beside an elementary school on February the 28th. Donald Trump has said he believed Iran had struck the school. Iran says more than 165 people, the majority children, were killed. Now, as we said earlier, Iran has selected a new supreme leader. He is Mojtaba Khamenei, son of the slain Ayatollah. We wanted to know more about the man who has largely maintained a low profile. There are very few videos and photos of the 56-year-old second son of the former leader. The younger Khamenei has never held office nor given public speeches or interviews. While expected to hold his father's hard line, the new supreme leader is a mid-ranking cleric, whereas the title of Ayatollah suggests a very high scholarly level. Now, Donald Trump was speaking to House Republicans today and appeared to signal the war with Iran will not be a long one. Earlier, he had said the war would last 4 to 6 weeks.
We took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion.
Of course, the war has had an effect on oil and gas. G7 nations will not be releasing emergency oil reserves just yet, despite the huge disruption of the global oil supply that has gas prices spiking and world economies, including this country's, at risk. Top Iranian officials are saying the Strait of Hormuz won't be safe until the war ends. CTV's John Venevali on the financial fallout and Canadians feeling pain at the pumps. John.
Sandy, the message for motorists is you might want to fill up now because the pain at the pumps seems likely to get worse. With pump prices well north of $1.50 in Toronto, drivers are feeling the wartime pinch.
$1.55. It's a little bit scary.
Yes, it is hard. Concern only so much we can do from here, right?
And many wondering what happens next. Are you worried about it going higher?
Oh, absolutely. Like the world going on like this.
Following dramatic scenes over the weekend, including attacks on oil infrastructure in Iran and the Gulf states. Overnight Sunday, the price for a barrel of Brent crude jumped almost 30% to just under $120 US per barrel, before falling back to around $100 this morning. In response, North American stock markets opened lower, an initial sea of red, with traders fearing a lengthy supply disruption.
The longer this occurs, the more difficult it becomes for global oil markets.
The near shutdown of the vital Strait of Hormuz continues to worry traders, and major suppliers like Kuwait, Iraq, and the UAE have begun to cut production, unable to move oil, with one well-known price forecaster thinking gas prices could go up another 8 cents by midweek.
And every other day after that, probably 2 to 4 cents a liter until we get right to next Sunday.
Meanwhile, G7 nations have for now decided against releasing emergency oil reserves to ease supply concerns. After a meeting of G7 finance ministers, they wrote, "We will continue to monitor the situation," adding, "We stand ready to take necessary measures, including stockpile release." While as a major producer, Canada does benefit from higher oil prices, they can also lead to higher food and air travel costs, stoking inflation. Meanwhile, gas price expert Dan McTagg says if oil prices hit $140 US a barrel, gas prices could jump at least 40 cents or more at the pump. Sandy.
Okay, John, thank you. MPs are debating the Iran war in the House of Commons tonight, a chance for all parties to present their position, which includes criticism of the Prime Minister's approach. CTV's Abigail Beeman joins us from Ottawa. And Abigail, all of this is happening without Mark Carney present?
That's right, Sandy. The Prime Minister's office not explaining why, but saying the debate will be led by the Foreign Affairs Minister instead.
Mark Carney and Donald Trump spoke Sunday afternoon, including about the Middle East, the Prime Minister's office saying they agreed to stay in close contact. The situation in Iran high on the Prime Minister's agenda, but he isn't planning to attend a debate on it in the House of Commons tonight.
We met with the incident response group yesterday with the Prime Minister and 5 or 6 ministers.
The Defense Minister acknowledges the concern NATO could be drawn into the conflict and says Canada also watching closely the decisions by other NATO allies to assist countries in the area.
The Iranian war now, the incursion led by Israel and the United States, has a bearing on fundamental questions like ammunition supply. It also has a bearing on the situation in Ukraine. So we are cognizant of that, watching it carefully.
The Canadian position has been unprincipled, it's been contradictory, and it's been incoherent.
The Liberal government facing criticism for its evolving position, beginning with stronger support than some allies for the initial airstrikes and then calling for de-escalation.
It's hard to know what's the current position of the government.
No Liberal MPs were critical publicly today as they reconvene for the first time since the war began.
We are here to work collaboratively and quickly with the Prime Minister and the government to turn rhetoric into results.
While the opposition leader accused Carney of pandering in all directions as he called for a different emergency debate about what Pierre Poilievre terms an emergency energy production plan.
Our allies are desperate for energy that does not come from the Middle East or Russia. High oil and gas prices present an enormous opportunity for Canada, which has the fourth biggest supply of oil in the world.
MPs gather to debate the ongoing situation tonight, while Liberals will have a chance to air their views behind closed doors at their caucus meeting Wednesday. Sandy?
All right, Abigail in Ottawa. At the same time, the defense minister was commenting on Iran. He was also announcing new investments under Ottawa's defense industry strategy. CTV senior political correspondent Mike LeCouture tackles the billion-dollar pledge and the promise of jobs to come. Hey, Mike.
Well, Sandy, this is a significant announcement, and it's all part of Canada's plan to meet its NATO commitment to spend 2% of GDP on national defense this year.
It's a $900 million announcement for defense innovation in Canada. The partnership with the National Research Council will help grow domestic drone and aerospace technologies.
This will allow us to develop new platforms for drone and aerospace technologies, including having a new drone innovation center, a drone innovation hub here in Ottawa at the NRC.
The federal government is also buying a new $500 million Bombardier plane. It's the same aircraft already being used by Saab and a Korean company for defense surveillance.
They're going to intentionally make their purchases in this country by design, by policy objective, and that's a huge reorientation of the way the government of Canada has worked.
It's a welcome change for the Quebec-based aerospace company, pointing out that particular model is truly Canadian-made.
Our aircraft, there's a lot of Canadian content. We have on the 6500 over 65 suppliers in the country.
It's estimated close to 1,000 jobs are being supported by the purchase of the new Bombardier jet and 6 others ordered in December. The federal government's defense industrial strategy unveiled last month is promising to prioritize homegrown production and research as a way of keeping investment dollars and employment in this country. While it's unclear how many jobs could be created from the drone hub, there is a sense that it could spur hiring in related industries.
Working with the SMEs that we are going to be helping them so that they can grow and their production so that they can provide to defense in Canada, but also defense to our allies.
Defense industry analysts say the government's defense industrial strategy is off to a good start. But some say if the Liberals want to deliver on their promise, they'll have to make a lot more of these announcements a lot more often. Sandy?
All right, Mike LeCouture in Ottawa. And Mark Carney is making his first trip to Norway as Prime Minister. He will leave Friday for a visit focused on trade and defense, which includes observing NATO exercises focused on Arctic security. Carney will then go to London for a meeting with the British Prime Minister. Well, a chemical spill along 14 kilometers of highway in Fredericton has the New Brunswick government giving free car washes. About 1,000 liters of sodium carbonate, sodium hydroxide, and chromium was spilled. Those chemicals can be harmful in high amounts, and thousands of cars drove over the substance late last week before that portion of highway was closed. It's why the province is offering to wash the vehicles, although some drivers are asking why it took so long.
It seems kind of strange that it's completely unknown as to what's happened, but that at least the city and the province are taking actions to at least do the cleanup.
New Brunswick's Emergency Measures Organization is still cleaning up the spill and investigating how it happened. And people in Calgary and surrounding areas are being asked to conserve water again as the city begins major repairs to a crucial water main.
If we can overall reduce the load on the system by about 3% over the next couple weeks, that allows us to be able to have enough water to be able to ensure that the fire department can respond to calls, that there's adequate water pressure, and that we don't need to have boil water advisories.
Repairs will target critical sections of the pipe that ruptured twice before and carry about 60% of the city's drinking water. Artificial intelligence has blurred the line between what's real online and what isn't real. It's prompted two men who live in British Columbia to help educate young people about digital dangers. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson has their story.
There's an app now where if it detects that Bluetooth signal, it will send you a warning.
From podcasts to online investigations and hundreds of presentations for schools.
That is kind of how an IP address works.
Inside this homemade high-tech studio outside BC's capital, a father and son duo known as the White Hatter have made a career out of keeping people safe online.
Things are moving at breakneck speeds right now.
One of the biggest threats they're seeing is sextortion, a scenario where teens are convinced to send nude photos to a predator who then threatens to post them online unless the victim pays a ransom. And who is most at risk may surprise you.
Of the 355 cases we've dealt with, only 14 were teen girls. 14. The rest were all teen boys. Why? Because of the shame associated with teen boys.
Artificial intelligence has upped the game. Fake nudes can be created from photos on open social media accounts, so keep them private. And a scammer can now pose as someone else, even in a live online video chat.
Although you think you're talking live to a 16-year-old from California, it could be a 55-year-old male from the Ivory Coast of Africa with no front teeth trying to cap you online for sextortion.
The key to keeping teens safe, they say, is education. Parents making an effort to establish an open line of communication about what's happening online, and if your child is victimized, reacting the right way. Their anxiety is spiking. They're in what we call red alert status, and they are just in a terrible mental health emergency sometimes.
The worst case scenario they've encountered, a young person feeling there's no way out and taking their own life. The wrong approach by a parent trying to help is lashing out.
Give your son a big hug and let them know, say to him, I love you and I'm going to help you. Because that's what the child needs. They don't need to hear, how could you have done that?
A final piece of perspective, despite the many threats that exist online, most experiences will be positive.
I do try to emphasize that with parents that, hey, most people are just like your kids, want to go online, have fun, and just enjoy life. Like a fingerprint.
Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Langford, BC.
Still ahead, attack near the New York City mayor's home. Why officials are calling it an act of terror. 5 players from Iran's women's soccer team have sought asylum in Australia, which is hosting the Asian Cup. The Iranian team was in Australia for the tournament when the war broke out. Supporters chanted, "Save our girls," as the team's bus drove out after exiting the tournament last night. The women were labeled, quote, wartime traitors by Iranian state television for refusing to sing the national anthem before the opening match. It sparked fears for their safety if they were sent home. A terrorism investigation has been launched in New York City after the attempted use of homemade explosive during protests near the mayor's residence this weekend. 2 devices were ignited and at least one was thrown. It was described as a jar filled with screws, nuts and bolts wrapped in black tape with a fuse attached. Police say the explosives could have been deadly. The incident happened when a group of far-right protesters gathered outside Gracie Mansion and then clashed with a larger group of counter-protesters.
Traveled from Pennsylvania and attempted to bring violence to New York City. They are suspected of coming here to commit an act of terrorism.
2 men were arrested at the scene. According to court documents, the men blurted out that ISIS was the inspiration for the act, and both have been charged with terrorism. And the Beverly Hills home of award-winning singer Rihanna was hit with multiple gunshots last night. A woman has been arrested. The suspect is accused of firing up to 7 shots at the mansion with an assault rifle. Bullet holes riddled the outside, but it is unclear if any of Rihanna's 3 children or her husband, rapper A$AP Rocky, were home at the time. The LAPD followed the suspect by helicopter to a nearby mall to make the arrest. After the break, an unforgettable career, reaches the end. Why a Canadian curling legend is hanging up his broom. Brad Gougeau is curling's biggest star and the sport's most decorated. Now, a son of Newfoundland has thrown his final rock, finishing his last national championship in his hometown of St. John's. CTV's Garrett Barry now with the recap of an extraordinary career in curling. Hi, Garrett.
Sandy, it's the end of an era in Newfoundland and Labrador. Brad Gougeau has been one of the province's premier athletes for more than 20 years, and now he's saying goodbye to fans that supported him through it all.
The final bow for curling legend Brad Gougeau. Certainly the most decorated athlete to call Newfoundland and Labrador home. 6 national championships, a world title, an Olympic gold and bronze. Arguably the greatest Canadian curler ever.
You know, I think everybody just wants to feel loved and appreciated. And certainly this week I felt the love and the appreciation from everybody here.
His swan song ended this weekend. A push for a 7th national championship fell just short of the podium. Not on top, but he got to go out on home turf because this year the Brier, the National Men's Curling Championship, was held in St. John's.
This community has been amazing for me over the course of my career, and I've had some great supporters from my family, obviously my teammates, our support staff. I'm very lucky, very fortunate. I'm going to miss this.
But he says after decades of competing, it's time to step away from the travel and grind that is professional sport and spend more time with his family. In Newfoundland and Labrador, it's going to be hard to imagine a world without Brad Gougeau.
It's just been amazing. It's been amazing, and he's going to be missed, a lot.
We have just loved watching him over the years, couldn't get enough of it. I am a diehard Brad fan, and I hope to see him coaching.
Longtime teammate Mark Nichols has been by Brad Gougeau's side for all of those accomplishments. There's no word yet on whether he is also putting away his broom and curling shoes and stepping back from the competitive game. Sandy.
A national treasure. Okay, thanks so much, Garrett. And thank you for sharing your time with us this Monday. I'm Sandy Ronaldo. Bye for now. We'll see you tomorrow, we hope. Have a nice evening.
CTV National News, Canada's #1 newscast.